This is Manzanar, where as many as 10,000 people were interned during World War II, just for being of Japanese descent. The federal government claimed it was for their own safety.
When the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor, our west coast became a potential combat zone. Living in that zone were more than 100,000 persons of Japanese ancestry, 2/3 of them American citizens, 1/3 aliens. We knew that some among them were potentially dangerous, but no one knew what would happen among this concentrated population if Japanese forces should try to invade our shores. Military authorities therefore determined that all of them, citizens and aliens alike, would have to move.
But many of them were American citizens, suddenly stripped of their constitutional rights. These Americans lost their homes, their businesses, their entire lives, and were locked up here in the California desert near Death Valley.
The military and civilian agencies alike determined to do the job as a democracy should, with real consideration for the people involved.
It's hard to get a sense of the hardship of living here, but when you're outside and you feel the wind and the sand in your face, you get a much better idea.
Larger problem, the uncertainty of what would happen among these people in case of a Japanese invasion, still remained. That is why the commanding general of the Western Defense Command determined that all Japanese within the coastal area should move inland. Naturally, the newcomers looked about with some curiosity. They were in a new area, on land that was raw, untamed, but full of opportunity.
Since there was no running water in the bunkhouses, sometimes the only place you could wash your hands was the mess hall. This one was recently reconstructed so we can get an idea of what it was like. Over the course of its operation, nearly 29 million meals were served to Japanese-descended internees at Manzanar.
Their parents, most of whom are American citizens, and their grandparents, who are aliens, immediately wanted to go to work. At Manzanar, they built a lath house and began rooting guayuli cuttings. The plants, when mature, will add to our rubber supply. Told, only when circumstances permit the loyal American citizens once again to enjoy the freedom we in this country cherish, and when the disloyal, we hope, have left this country for good. In the meantime, we are setting a standard for the rest of the world in the treatment of people who may have loyalties to an enemy nation. We are protecting ourselves without violating the principles of Christian decency.
The legislation that I am about to sign provides for a restitution payment to each of the 60,000 survivors, surviving Japanese Americans, of the 120,000 who were relocated or detained. Yet no payment can make up for those lost years. So what is most important in this bill has less to do with property than with honor. For here we admit a wrong. Here we reaffirm our commitment as a nation to equal justice under the law.